everybody. If you are watching this video, then you are probably almost done with this class. Usually we don't get to things like presentations till the very end of the semester, and so if you are here, then congratulations. Only a few more weeks to go, most likely. This video is going to cover some good practices for making a video presentation, and along the way, just for like how you do well talking to people on video, which you're gonna do someday for a job interview or to talk to your grandmother or to talk to your kids or whatever it is. It's gonna happen. And at some point, you're going to be speaking to somebody live on a camera or making a presentation that's you talking, like for this online class, that you're going to put online. Or if I'm asking you to do a component of a presentation for an on-ground class, then you're also going to get some good guidelines here for how to do that. And so today, what I want to talk to you about is not the content of your presentation. The content of your presentation has been covered elsewhere. And so you want to check out the guidelines for the presentation, what content has to be in it, how long it has to be. Today, what I want to talk to you about is how to prepare for something like this. This assumes that you already know what technology you're going to use to make your recording, you know how long it has to be, and you know what has to be in it. And so today, what I want to first tell you is that I know it's kind of scary and weird to have to give a digital presentation or to make a video of yourself and post it somewhere. But the first thing that you should know is not to panic. I know it's not helpful ever for someone to tell you not to panic, but you can do this. And so whatever it is I've assigned for you to do, remember that this is your chance to finally show off all of your hard work in a really congenial setting. No one in the class wants you to fail. Everybody's in the same boat as you are. Probably most of them are feeling just as anxious as you are about having to give a presentation like this. Remember that you are the expert in this class on whatever the topic of your presentation is. Own your expertise. Try to have a little bit of fun here. And the way that you can have fun, ironically, is to practice, to get yourself comfortable. One thing that you can do is just literally make some recordings of yourself to listen to yourself speak and to see what you look like when you're on screen. I've already resigned myself that I look really awkward and that my voice sounds funny. And you're probably going to think exactly the same thing, but just get used to the fact. Make a couple of recordings, get over it, and you can post them to Padlet, post them online, post them to whatever I've asked you to post them to, just to kind of see what you look like, and then delete the recording and make your real presentation later on. This is going to help you at least shake off your nerves, and it's going to help you kind of identify ways that you might lower your tone, lower your speed, and kind of help you have a little more fun with the presentation. One thing that I know is that I tend to speak very, very quickly. Students have been telling me that for years. That listening to myself and watching myself, especially if I have to have a real timed presentation, is going to help me slow down and make sure that I'm enunciating everything in a way that whoever is viewing the video is going to be able to understand. You're also going to want to actually practice your presentation. You don't want to just mess around, make a recording, and then go in and make the real presentation. Once you've gotten used to yourself and what you look like and sound like on screen, practice the actual presentation. That's going to help you make sure that you are within the time limits. So again, check those in the presentation assignment. And it's going to help you make sure you identify places where there might be words that you're stumbling over, words that you know, but as soon as you try to say them out loud, they sound really awkward and you stumble over them. It's going to help you also determine where you need to emphasize, where you need to stop, where you need to look at your audience to make sure they're getting what it is that you're saying. So in short, practicing obviously is the best way to shake off nerves and the best way to ensure you're going to do well on this assignment. But there's more to that and to making a good digital video like this or video presentation like this than just practicing it. One thing is you're going to want to make sure that you create a good environment for presenting. So make sure that when you're actually recording this, you are in a quiet place, somewhere that you're not going to get interrupted by your kids or your spouse or your dog or your phone. Just a second ago, I tried to start this video and my phone rang immediately. And so I had to stop the video and start it again. And so you want to make sure that you're not going to get interrupted once you're really ready to go. You also want to make, when you're actually doing the presentation, eye contact. I know that seems weird because you can't actually see the people who are going to be watching your video, but notice that I am looking at you, right? I am not staring at my screen. I'm looking at you. And so that's something you definitely want to practice trying to do. That helps your audience kind of engage with you. You're probably going to have some notes here, but there are a lot of ways that you can deal with having notes and still look at the screen. So for example, I have some notes, and what I'm going to say to you right now, they're on my screen, but I made them really big. So I just barely have to glance and look, and then I can look right back up here at the camera and talk to you. Other things I've done in the past is I have made post-it notes and I've stuck them to the sides of the frame so that I appear to be kind of looking up the entire time. Or I've even taped things to the wall behind my computer to kind of help me look up, and that I can actually appear to be looking at my audience rather than staring at my screen, or even worse, staring down here at outline notes, because that's not going to help you make a very good impression with your audience. This is also really good practice for interviews. It's something that someone taught me a long time ago and I always pass on, is to look at the camera. Even though you want to look at the people interviewing you, that really doesn't matter. They want to feel like you're looking at them, and the only way to do that is to look at the camera and not at your screen. Something else you want to do, obviously, is have some kind of outline, or practice it so much that you don't need an outline. So even I just referenced that outline, put that outline up there on the wall, put it on your screen and make it really big, stick it on Post-its. But again, you're going to have to have practiced enough where you don't have to stare at it too much, right? Again, practicing, practicing, practicing. Now, another thing you want to do, even though it seems weird, is to dress for your audience. I didn't do a super good job on this, but it's actually a Friday afternoon, and this is what I would normally be wearing at work on a Friday afternoon. But make sure that you're wearing something that's appropriate for whatever rhetorical situation you find yourself in. For the sake of our class, I probably will have identified the audience you're making a presentation for. So again, you're going to want to go back and check out the assignment prompt. It might just be for your classmates, and it might be a pretend audience that is outside of our class. So you want to check the specific presentation requirements or the specific assignment requirements so you know who you're going to be dressing for. In this case, since I'm just dressing for you guys, it's a Friday afternoon, it's late in the semester, I am pretty casual. I'm wearing a t-shirt and this, I'm not wearing fancy jewelry. In fact, one thing that you might notice is that I am not even wearing my glasses. And that is another point I want to make here. Obviously, if you need your glasses, you need your glasses. And normally I do, but I made the print on my screen really big. The reason I'm not wearing my glasses is because, as you can see, there's a lot of glare on them. And you want people, again, to be able to see you. Since I'm doing this late in the afternoon in my dining room, and there are 3 windows right across the way there, if I have my glasses on, I can see in the camera that you can't see my eyes when I'm moving like this, and I want you to be able to see me. So I just made the print bigger and I took them off. So on video, you really want to take a look at how you look. You want to pay attention to you, obviously, but you also want to pay attention to the lighting. The reason I'm doing this in my dining room on Friday afternoon is because I think the light in here is really nice at this time of day. There aren't a lot of shadows. I don't look really haggard. There's not some weird line down my face by kind of key lights coming from lamps or anything like that. It's nice, even lighting, but you can light your presentation however you like. Just be aware of what you actually look like. Make sure it's giving you the right tone, setting the right mood. Also, you want to take a look at what you look like to make sure the angle is right. I actually put my computer up on a couple of books here, so it's a little bit high, so that because I find that in general, a camera looking up at somebody looks kind of nefarious and a little bit creepy, but a camera eye level or looking down a little bit makes you look a little bit more friendly, a little bit more accessible. So again, you want to pay attention to how you actually look on the camera by also thinking about how your camera has been placed and where it's been placed and what the lighting is in the room that you're making the presentation. Something else that I generally pay attention to and that you want to pay attention to as well is what is behind you. Now, this isn't the most professional setting in the world, but I'm sitting in my dining room right now, and if I wanted to come off as fairly professional, I might go to my office, but I would always look behind me and look at what I look like on frame and make sure there's nothing kind of weird or distracting. I cleaned some of the clutter off of that buffet behind me, that big piece of furniture. I took anything away that might be cluttery or might be distracting for my audience, and you probably want to do the same thing. So just make sure that you are not making your audience look at what's behind you and wonder what it is they are looking at, what is all of that, and that they are instead focused on you. So make sure there's not too much going on back there. To me, there's not too much going on back back there, but you may have a different impression of that. So just keep that in mind about who is your audience, what are they looking at, what do you want to present yourself as, and make sure that your audience, that your background and your lighting and everything are appropriate, and your clothes as well. Finally, you want to use the right body language and the right tone. Now, I know that's something that your textbook kind of talks about, body language a little bit for an in-person presentation, but the same thing happens for a digital video as well, or a digital presentation. So one thing that I'm doing right now is I am trying to consciously adopt a kind of relaxed pose. I'm sitting back in my chair. I'm not like this, looking up at you. I'm trying to kind of sit back. It's kind of giving me a more friendly demeanor with you, helps you see more of me. And then you can also see my hands, right? So you can see that I'm still kind of giving a presentation, not just with my face and my voice, but also with my body a little bit. And you may want to practice that as well. Again, this all comes back down to practicing. So as long as you've practiced the presentation, a lot of these things are going to fall in line. I do a lot of video presentations like this, and so I don't feel super uncomfortable doing it, or with the weirdness of staring at a tiny little black dot all the time while I'm doing this. But I know that it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of practice. Now, there are other guidelines in your textbook in the chapter on giving presentations. Some of them are relevant, right, because they are relevant to the rhetorical situation. Some of them are not going to be super relevant because they're about giving presentations in person. And so make sure you're reading through that with a grain of salt, knowing what information you can take away for this specific presentation, and then include along with that information, the information here in this video. And if you do that, you're going to make a super awesome presentation. So good luck on your work, and let me know if you have any questions.